I am your teacher, Mr. Pacitti, and this is my classroom here in Detroit, Michigan. So put away your mobile phones, put away your Buddy Murphys. It's time to concentrate, it's time to study. This is SmackDown Live, and this is Graded. We kick things off with the Queen, Charlotte Flair, who of course will face Trish Stratus on Sunday night. Charlotte Flair talks about how bloody brilliant she is and how bloody not brilliant almost everyone else is, and then starts specifically running down Trish Stratus, saying that it eats Trish Stratus alive to see how great Charlotte Flair is because Trish Stratus was never that great. Charlotte then signals to the Tron and instructs the production guys in the back to play a video that she's had especially made highlighting her wonderful career up until this point. That's right, it's another one of those superstar befriends the editors things. But instead of that playing, Trish Stratus, she's seen it coming. She must have read the script. She's had a video of her own made highlighting Trish Stratus's incredible career, and that plays, and Charlotte looks super pissed off. So Charlotte looks like she is about to go bozo. She has been out pre-produced by Trish Stratus. Trish then comes out and says that the only reason that she played that video is to prove a point, to show that the reason that Charlotte Flair is getting all of these opportunities is because of her. Trish says that she has been dreaming of one more match. Maybe it's to prove something to her kids. Maybe it's to prove something to the WWE Universe. Or maybe, just maybe, it's to prove it to herself. Charlotte says she's going to make Trish Stratus bow down to the Queen. Woo! But then Trish slaps her hard in her mush, and Charlotte doesn't give her one back. She smiles and then she leaves the ring. End of segment. This worked for me. I'm going to give it a B. Charlotte's heel promos are something that I always love. It's a role that she plays so very, very well. And although it could be argued that we didn't really learn anything that we didn't learn the previous week in that King's Court segment, this still, I think it was quite effective. I'm hyped for the match on Sunday, so job done. Next up, we get a quick recap of the HBK, Ziggler, Miz, Goldberg stuff from Monday Night Raw. And then Goldberg's music starts playing. He's here! Except he's not. We go backstage. It looks like Goldberg is about to make his entrance, but out of the door pops Dolph Ziggler, mimicking Goldberg's entrance. The only thing that would have made this 10 times better is if Dolph Ziggler had, like, blood pissing down his forehead. That didn't happen. That was a missed opportunity. Dolph makes his way to the ring. So Dolph is here to face Rey Mysterio. Dolph's in the ring. Rey starts coming out, and then before the bell even rings, Dolph gets out the ring, starts attacking Rey Mysterio, lays him out good and proper with a super kick, and then refs run down. There's an agent checking on Rey Mysterio. Rey gets back to his feet, and Dolph nails him with another super kick, and then grabs a mic. Dolph says it's easy. All of you legends can come crawling out here, but the story is always going to be the same, and Dolph Ziggler is going to take all of you out. I'm not next, Goldberg. This match is going to be your last. Sure it is, Dolph. Sure it is. Ali then runs out to a decent pop, quickly checks on Rey Mysterio, making sure he's not dead, slides in the ring, and we're gonna get a match anyway, Dolph Ziggler versus Ali. This one unfortunately didn't really get going. There's a bit of back and forth, but Dolph Ziggler quickly puts Ali away with the super kick, and that's probably the right decision. Even if it is tough to view Dolph Ziggler as a legitimate threat heading into SummerSlam to face Bill Goldberg, he could have still done with a strong win heading into that pay-per-view, and that's exactly what he got here. You could argue that it's a bit of a shame that Ali was the man to take that beating, to be essentially squashed by Dolph Ziggler, but the fan reaction kind of proves that people are invested in him, so it was probably a sensible choice. This gets a B+. Nobody in their right mind thinks that Dolph Ziggler is going to beat Bill Goldberg on Sunday night, and a few super kicks to Rey Mysterio and a glorified squash against Ali isn't going to change that. However, I did find this stuff entertaining last night, and I'm actually into a match featuring Dolph Ziggler and Bill Goldberg. A singles match. Dolph Ziggler versus Bill Goldberg, and I want to see it. So WWE have done something right here. There's a quick backstage promo with Roman Reigns. We will talk more about Roman Reigns at the end of this episode of Graded. There is a lot to talk about, including the reveal of who attacked Roman, as if you don't already know. Here he apologizes to Samoa Joe, and he just came across as super likable and really human here. And this is when Roman Reigns is at his best. Roman isn't a guy who needs 15-minute promos. He's at his best when he's a real-life person who also happens to be a total badass, not this indestructible Superman character that WWE have portrayed him as in the past. Natalya is out next. She is facing Ember Moon in a Battle of the SummerSlam Challengers match. Yeah. It's a nice showing for Ember Moon at the start, who gets in some decent offense, and then it all spills out to the outside. Ember hits Natty with a shotgun dropkick, but then Natty quickly locks in the sharpshooter on the outside still, and both women get counted out. Like, Ember didn't tap, so she didn't look especially weak or anything. I just feel like it made Natty look like a total and utter moron. This woman has been in the WWE for like 55 years, and she's locking in a submission move on the outside. Commentary sold this as if, hey, she's sending a message to Becky Lynch, but I think it just made Natalya look dumb. It's not even as though the submission match on Sunday is submissions count anywhere, because then at least this would make a bit more sense. No, it wouldn't make more sense, because that's not the rules of this match. I don't understand this. Anyway, Ember is locked in the sharpshooter, outruns Bayley to make the save, despite the fact that Bayley last week, Bayley to bellied Ember Moon, so is the message here that only Bayley is allowed to hurt Ember Moon? I didn't understand this one bit. This gets an E. It's a match that shouldn't have been set up in the first place. It was never going to help either woman, but it's especially bad because the closing shot of this segment is the champion helping out her challenger on the go-home episode of SmackDown before the pay-per-view. I can't believe they did this. Baffling. Also, shouldn't you be making the sharpshooter look as dangerous as possible in the build? Like, anyone locked in it should be tapping immediately rather than getting pissing counted. And now it's time for the Kevin Owens Show. This week's host is Kevin Owens, and he wastes no time in calling out his guest, Shane McMahon. Owens starts running down Shane's ego and then asks Shane to put his career on the line as well. Oh my word, yes, there is a light at the end of this very sweaty tunnel. And then Shane goes, no, I'm not going to do that. Oh. Shane says that he could pin him, he could make him submit, he could get him counted out, he could get him DQ'd, but the result will always be the same. And that result is that Kevin Owens has to leave the WWE, and we get years and years of Shane McMahon stinking up every damn show. So Owens goes, Shane, you've got no balls if you don't want to put your career on the line. I'm thinking, oh great, okay, he's finally gonna, the mind games are gonna work. Shane's gonna put his career on the line too, but that just doesn't happen. It looks like they're about to have the match now. They start moving the set dressing out of the way, and then before they can start scrapping, Elias runs out and starts beating down Kevin Owens. So Shane and Elias are laying in the punches on Owens, and Owens makes a brief comeback, but this doesn't last long. The numbers game is too much, and Shane lays him out over the announce table, and then in a magnificent feat of strength, pushes the announce table on top of Kevin Owens, and then sets up a chair and hits a running dropkick into the chair, properly ruining Kevin Owens before the match on Sunday. Okay, let's look at the positives here. This was quite an exciting segment. It was well delivered. It even makes sense for Shane McMahon to stand tall because Kevin Owens has gotten the better of Shane McMahon for many, many weeks now. The negatives, well, there's one big negative, and that's even if Kevin Owens wins on Sunday, Shane McMahon doesn't seem like he's going to be going anywhere. The only way that we might get rid of Shane McMahon at this point is for Kevin Owens to lock him in a big warm box and just let him drown in sweat, because it doesn't look like this is going to end anytime soon. As a standalone segment though, I think this was relatively strong. As I say, both men did play their roles well. I'm going to give this a B-. The minus is because the tipping over the announce table spot should be saved for guys like Lesnar or Strowman. Monsters. It should be saved for monsters, not a 49-year-old father of three. Next up, a quick Sami Zayn promo. He calls out Aleister Black for a match at SummerSlam, but Aleister Black is nowhere to be seen. For a bit anyway. He then pops up, and the first shot we see of him is him laid down, surrounded in smoke. It looks like he's in a coffin, you know, on his... I don't know what that's called. It's like the flipper from Robot Wars. He's laid on that, but totally horizontal, and he goes, this match isn't going to happen at SummerSlam. It's going to happen right now. And then he gets raised up, and I think it was meant to look a lot cooler than it perhaps did look. A solid match, as you would expect from these two. Sami Zayn not getting in too much offense, and then Aleister Black hits him with the knees and then gets him up with the foot, which I bloody love. Hits the Black Mass. Aleister Black is your winner. This one gets a B. The right result, and I've seen a lot of complaints saying that, hey, this match should have been happening at SummerSlam, but given the lack of build, and that's WWE's fault, keep that in mind. Given the lack of build, I actually think it was the right call to do this on SmackDown rather than putting it on at SummerSlam in a match that not that many people are going to care about. As I say again, that's WWE's fault. They should have built to this better. Aleister Black, after being at Extreme Rules and having possibly match of the night, should have been on at SummerSlam, but if they were going to put that match on at SummerSlam, I actually think it would have probably gone on the pre-show. And then you've sort of set a precedent. You said that Aleister Black's position on the card is before the main pay-per-view starts, and that would be even more damaging. We then get a quick Firefly Funhouse episode. Nice to see Bray Wyatt with a bit of presence on this show. He essentially just says, Finn Balor, you're in trouble, and the Fiend is coming for you, and then spooky stuff starts to happen. It feels like I'm glossing over this, but I'm already running long on this episode. Don't want to go on for about 30 minutes, so let's move on. We then get a great video package highlighting, I guess, the history of Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston. This was so well produced, and it touched on lots and lots of real life stuff that we've been talking about for 10 years now, all the way back in 2009 when Randy Orton politicked his way backstage and sort of derailed Kofi Kingston's push following all the car stuff with the paint and the stupid, all of that stuff. You need to go and watch this, essentially. Nothing that I can say here will do this justice. It was so well produced. I'm giving this an A. This did far more than any in-ring promo could ever do. The production guys at WWE are literally the best in the world. Main event time, and it's a tag match. Holla holla player. Big E and Xavier Woods taking on Daniel Bryan and Rowan. A good match here. We all know that these two teams have great chemistry. Big E hitting some big power moves. Daniel Bryan with some great technical offense. Xavier Woods with a wonderful elbow from the top, blah, 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 blah. Let's get to the finish. Rowan ends up getting him and Daniel Bryan DQ'd by using the ring steps. And then after the match, they get into the ring and they just beat down on the New Day. Daniel Bryan hits a running knee, Rowan hits the Iron Claw, but the show isn't over next. Let's go backstage. This match gets a B, by the way. So Roman is walking through the backstage area. He approaches the men's locker room, enters, and says, everybody get out. Except you, Buddy Murphy. And then he sits facing Murphy, and I'm pretty sure that he sat like this over the chair, so you know he's serious. And he says, Buddy, did you try and kill me, mate? It gets super intense, and Buddy ends up saying, Roman, I don't know who tried to brutally murder you, but even if I did, I wouldn't tell you, and then smirks like a horrible little bastard. Roman just starts trashing him, starts laying in the punches, throwing him into tables, pinning him up against the wall. He goes all Jack Bauer on him, essentially. It was cool as hell, and then he finally extracts the information that he desires. With Buddy firmly pinned up against the wall, he finally reveals who was responsible for trying to kill Roman Reigns. And it was former WWE Divas champion Layla. Interesting choice. Now, I'm in two minds about this. It presents an issue because I'm not sure even Roman Reigns can get a great match out of Layla, and with SummerSlam faster I'm kidding, I'm pulling your leg, I'm yanking your chains. It was that big, horrible ginger tosser, Rowan. Interesting developments, and super cool of WWE. Props to them here for planting those seeds in those backstage segments to begin with. Like we saw Rowan there, and we saw Buddy Murphy there. Everyone's been talking about this. A rare showing of proper planning on WWE's part here, so well done. I think it's fair to say that Rowan will have done this for Daniel Bryan as the stronger man. When it cut back to the ring, Daniel Bryan was just sort of stood there looking at the Tron. Rowan was there cross-armed like Tito Ortiz in TNA. And I'm not sure where this is going to go, but I don't want WWE to rush this. I've got this awful feeling that on like Friday night via social media, it will be announced that either we're getting Roman Reigns versus Rowan at SummerSlam, or we're getting a tag match. Maybe Roman and Samoa Joe, I think, is the most sensible choice after he apologized to him. And of course, they're both Samoans called Joe versus Daniel Bryan and Rowan. But I don't want to see either of those matches at SummerSlam. This needs time to breathe. Sure, it will be weird for guys like Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan to not have an advertised match for SummerSlam, the second biggest pay-per-view, Royal Rumble, of WWE's calendar year. However, this is a story that is going to keep us coming back to SmackDown and Raw, I guess. Wildcard, you know what I mean. Every single week. This is really compelling stuff, and WWE, just don't throw it away. So maybe at SummerSlam, Roman Reigns is attacked again. Maybe he's attacked again with Eric Rowan in plain sight. So it couldn't be him. Maybe Daniel Bryan is in plain sight too. It couldn't be either of them. Maybe Buddy Murphy was lying all along. The possibilities are endless here. I'm so into it. And this final segment of the show, not including the match, which I've already given a grade to, this gets an A. So as I've made very clear, I really enjoyed the ending of this week's SmackDown, but what about the episode as a whole? Well, the episode as a whole gets a B. I think there was some really strong stuff this week. Perhaps highlighted, not by the reveal, which was great, not by the Ziggler stuff, which I enjoyed too, not by the Shane McMahon stuff, which was pretty strong, but by a video package. I absolutely loved Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston, the history of that. It was edited so well. This episode of SmackDown was only really brought down by the confusing SmackDown Women's title scene, and I guess Natalya's involvement in that. It didn't help anyone. In fact, it's made me care less about, especially Bayley versus Ember at SummerSlam, which is a real shame. Before I go, I have some very sad news, something that I've not been looking forward to telling you guys, but I am, in fact, shortly going to be departing Cultaholic for ventures new, and I wanted SmackDown graded, which I guess feels like it's my show to be the time that I told you guys that. Thank you so much for your continued support over the past almost 2 years here at Cultaholic and everything that happened before that. I am, in fact, going on to pastures new. I'm going to become a trash man, a garbage collector, if you will. I'm a little bit worried about it because it's something that I've never done before. There's no formal training. Apparently, you just pick it up as you go. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.